the reason I am going to be talking while I make this card is because it kind of takes a while to make what I'm going to make. But what I decided to do was bring in a stamp set from a long time ago, Do the Hula. I see that at one time I wanted to sell it and then decided to hold on to it because of different vacations and scrapbooking I might want to do with it. So I'm just going to grab the Hawaiian shirt and the Aloha out of here to create my card today. All right, another thing I wanted to share is that this stamp set comes from a catalog from 2006, 2007. The catalogs were fatter. There was a lot going on here. If you remember back in the day, we had printed supply lists for every project in the catalog. Well, believe it or not, we still do that. They're just not printed in the catalog. You just have to ask me for it. And I'm more than willing to print that off for you and send it to you because that's fun to see what Stampin' Up! Used to create all the samples. But this is where Do the Hula, this is where I found it. One of the places. I know it was available for a couple of years. And as long as we're going back in time, here's my first catalog as a demonstrator. Maybe some of you recognize it. It's from 2000, 2001. Now, I started stamping several years before that, but this is my first catalog as a demonstrator. They were thicker. The pages were heavier. They used to be $10. Do you remember that? When we had to pay $10 for our catalog? And the way they've streamlined them, and they're heavy too. The way that they've streamlined them now and made the pages lighter has made it a lot easier to carry around. So anyway, those are a couple of old catalogs, and I'm going to combine some old with some new here. And there has been floating around lately a huge trendy thing is using strips to create a background. So I'm going to use this Designer Series paper from the current January to June mini catalog to make my card. So you can see, both sides are available to use. So I'm going to cut a strip in half, and then what I'm going to do is put adhesive down kind of across the whole thing. And that's how I'm going to get started. So I'm just going to want to be careful, of course, that I don't stick it down to my background paper. But I'm going to lay that corner down first. And I will turn it around and trim it. And now the adhesive is ready. I'm going to lay it aside. The adhesive is ready for me to use that piece again. So now we're going to take this one. We're going to do the same thing. I just like to snip it so that I'm only working with half at a time. So these are 1/2 inch strips by the entire length, 12 inches of the DSP. So the way I'm doing the strippy technique is I'm leaving a teeny bit of a border on a piece of crumb cake. Better flip that over. And this crumb cake is measured 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. It's going to leave a little border when we add it to our card. Okay, so here we go so far. And as you're watching now, I'm just going to start talking about my Stampin' Up! Story. I started stamping when I was in Alaska, and I was teaching there. I taught there for 6 years. And I would say probably my 3rd or 4th year in, somebody invited me to a Stampin' Up! Party. And the demonstrator that was demonstrating that day had been with this group of ladies for a long time. And what she liked to do is put all of her stuff out, and then people could just play with it. And, they could, sorry, I'm thinking here at the same time. People would play with it and then just create their own stuff. So I started creating, and I was like, man, this is really, really fun. So I left with ordering nothing. And I know some of you can relate to that because it's so overwhelming when you first see the catalog. You don't know where to start. So I left ordering nothing that day. And turns out a little while later, I decided, you know what? I think I'm going to start with Christmas cards. I can make my own Christmas cards and start really small. And, I remember telling my husband that I was going to be saving money because I was going to be making my own cards, which we all know now is absolutely hilarious. But, whatever appeases the husbands is, what we do. So anyway, do I have that one? Yep. It's not long enough. So anyway, I made my first stamp set purchase, and it was this one right here. I looked it up, Nativity Silhouette or Silhouette Nativity, something like that. So this is the first stamp set that I purchased from Stampin' Up. I don't have it anymore. I must have sold it, which is kind of sad actually, now that I think about it. But I bought that, and I bought some gold embossing powder, and I embossed the Mary and Joseph and Jesus stamp in gold. And I think I had it on just one layer, and I think I got a Merry Christmas stamp from somewhere. And I just started, that's how I started. So all right, let's see here. Sent those out, and of course, the rest is history because I didn't want to stop stamping. So a few years later, after I had hosted several in-home workshops, and I had ordered my full sets of ink pads, I was super excited when I found out that we were pregnant, and I knew I was going to stop teaching. And I decided, you know what, it is time for me to sign up, because I knew we were moving back to Minnesota, and it would be a great way to connect with people when I brought out my stamps and started stamping with people. So that's how it all began. So in 2001, in April of 2001, I signed up, and I spent a couple months in Alaska yet, selling to friends up there. And then when we moved here, then I waited until my son was born in August, and then I finally got started selling at more of a full-time, is a relative term, but I was working quite a bit at the business, starting then in 2002, I would say. So it's been a really fun ride. And of course, I started with Stamp Camp that had like 2 people in it. My mom, wait, 3 people, I think. My mom, my sister, and one other person. And I wish I could remember who that person was, because maybe you're watching and I could thank you for that. But within a couple of years, I had upwards of 40 people coming to my stamp camps. And of course, over the years now, that has changed quite a bit too. There's a lot of things happening online, and there are a lot of things happening in a different way than it used to, which is fine, because, we all have to evolve and change a little bit as things go. So I have changed my business in a lot of ways. Now, that being said, I am super blessed, and I'm going to say something that you might think I'm crazy for saying, but I feel really blessed during this time of pandemic. Gosh, I feel like I might not have connected with a lot of you again if it hadn't been for the pandemic. I knew that my business needed a little change, and it's kind of what has happened now with this whole thing, and I feel like it's the change I needed to do things differently, and I'm grateful for that. So thank you for joining me on Saturday mornings. That's kind of changed my my world a lot in a good way. I am loving those times together. And then, of course, the Scrap Together Sundays have been fun to get out my old albums again, to see what I was doing. It's really fun to reconnect with people I haven't connected with in a while. I feel like I've known a lot of you over the years, and maybe there have been times when your life hasn't allowed you to do the stamping that you want to do or whatever. So I just thank you for finding me here and reconnecting. Now, a couple of things as I'm finishing this background up here. First of all, if you have not ordered a catalog and you want one sent to you at your house for $5, I need to know your intention to do that by no later than tomorrow at noon, because I have to place that catalog order by the end of the day tomorrow. And I just would like to know that so that I don't forget someone or leave someone out. If you can pick it up at my house, the catalog is free, but I need you to let me know that too by Monday, I guess, because I can order boxes of catalogs on Tuesday. So just let me know that. I don't want you to miss out, because I'm telling you, I've seen it and it's awesome. So I want you in on it. All right, so you can see how this card is going together. It's fun to use. Scraps. You guys, there's so many scraps. And I just think 1/2 inch, and some of these pieces are pretty tiny. And just think how you can use those now using the scrappy method. Okay. Now we're going to take our piece of 4 1/4 by 11 inch crushed cardstock. And I know you're saying things here. And I'm sorry I'm not reading them now, but I promise I will read them later. I think I have to hire somebody to read an answer, or at least read so they can tell me what's going on. But I'm going to attach that then to that piece of 4 1/4 by 11 inch cardstock, so that there's a little of that crumb cake border around the outside as well. So isn't that a fun scrappy method? Oh, love it. All right, so then a Whisper White that is 2 1/4 by 2 3/4. And I'm trying to give the dimensions now because I think I've forgotten that a couple of times. And this Old Olive cardstock is 2 1/2 by 1 2 3 4 1/4. All right, and that's going to go straight onto our card as well. Old Olive is a color I had to use because it's one of those colors that has been around since I started in 2001. So I wanted to make sure I'm combining old with new. All right, so now back to the Hawaiian shirt. I would like to give it a lot of color, so I'm going to grab some markers, starting with Grapefruit Grove. Now, Grapefruit Grove is a color that is retiring, so you want to get your hands on the paper ink and refill if you like the color. Mango Melody is next. And as you notice, I'm just coloring sections of the shirt in different colors. And then finally the Old Olive. All right, now hopefully I didn't miss any. It looks shiny where I did it, so I think I got it all. Okay, then I'm gonna take one of our spritzers and spritz that twice. And then, oops, where's my scrap? And stamp that on a piece of scrap paper. And you've got that fun colored image using just markers and a spritzer. Love it. Okay, and then I cut one of those out in advance. And then we're going to use some dimensionals to stick that on. Okay, so don't forget to order your catalog. Also, I did put a new YouTube video up last night. I wanna just tell you it's an alternate project for the Paper Pumpkin Kit this month. But remember, you can always use the style to do something with it that's not part of Paper Pumpkin. It's a really fun card, so you'll wanna check it out. Okay, so Aloha is stamped now on this piece of 1 by 4.5. And then I'm going to take our banner punch, triple banner punch. And what I love about the triple banner punch is that it cuts paper that's 1 inch, 1.5 inches, or 2 inches wide. So you just slide the paper in on the tray, punch, and it banner cuts your paper. Love that. Because who really has trouble with getting those straight? Me. Okay, and then I'm going to pop that up as well. All right. And I know this one's going to be a little bit longer, What's Up Stampers, today, because I have this long list of things, anniversary related and not anniversary related. Look, cute, huh? I loved using that old stamp set. It was a lot of fun.